Hey everyone, Ashley Mailloux here, taking a look at a Pick 3 sequence this Saturday, October 4th. There are plenty of graded stakes races across North America. I'm going to focus in on the card up at Woodbine. Their feature is the Grade 1 Canadian International, but they have a pair of other graded stakes races, and one of those is the Dance Smartly, which is race number 8 on the program, a Grade 2 event. Before we dive into that Pick 3 sequence, just want to mention if you're looking for some other racing related content, maybe you're not just looking for handicapping, but you want to learn more about the faces and the names in the game, I highly recommend the Off the Track podcast with Gina Piccola. It's a great listen. You can kind of have it on as background music and learn more about riders, trainers, photographers, you name it, everyone involved in this ecosystem of horse racing. Also, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel to get those updates of when new videos are out, to also check out other related content on the DRF YouTube page. But we'll dive right back into the Pick 3. I mentioned the Dance Smartly. We're going to look at the Pick 3 that kicks off with that 8th race on the program. It's now a race that gives the winner an automatic spot in the starting gate for the Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mare Turf in January. And looking at this field this year, field of 9, mile and a 16th here for the fillies and mares. There are 2 horses that are short prices on the morning line. The 4, Ready for Shirl, and then the 6, Caitlin Her Greatness, who's 2-1. So 9-5 versus 2-1. I think there are different things to maybe look at both of them. I think in the case of Ready for Shirl, comes out of the Grade 1 EP Taylor, where She Feels Pretty and Diamond Rain. They were the horses to beat in a lot of ways, and they drew clear of the field. And Ready for Shirl just 3rd best, but she was jumping up into Grade 1 waters for the first time and was entering off a very big effort in the Canadian, where she was able to defeat Give Me Another, a next time out winner. And I really like the way that she's been trending. She's really handled this turf course well this year as a 4-year-old. I think she's a must-use. I think in the case of Caitlin Her Greatness, I'll be honest, I didn't use her on top in the Ontario Matron, and obviously I'm kicking myself for that. She was much the best, visually very impressive, but also have to weigh in the fact that it was on the Tapeta. She's going to get back onto the turf course. I don't think her best efforts, have been on the grass, at least the last 2, and we'll see. She has to face Ready for Shirl again, and the only time that she's finished in front of her was on a different surface. So I'm actually not going to use her. The other horses that I'll use here in the Pick 3, I like the Rail Runner, the 1 here for Miguel Clement. She got some confidence back last time out. It had been a while since she had found the winner's circle, and I know you go down the page, she does have a stakes win, but it's back in 2023 on the grass. I think she has faced some tougher horses, Be Your Best, Saffron Moon, Venetia, and some of her starts. So for her, off a win, I think this is the right spot for her. I will use her. I think she's going to offer some value. And then my big play in here at a price is going to be the number 5, Distant Winter. This one for Graham Motion. She's a South African mare who, when you look at the South African runners that have joined the barn of Graham Motion, sometimes they're thrown right into stakes waters. And that wasn't the case with her. She went for the first level allowance. She was 2nd in her next outing. They tried her at Colonial, and then they returned her to Delaware Park, where she was able to win again. And she drew clear in there. She was much the best. And I like that they've done that with her. A little bit more of a slow approach, kind of gauged what she's ready for. And now she'll jump in. But just having a couple more starts in her kind of resume in North America prior to trying graded stakes competition, I like that for her. And I know she's still going to have to take a huge step forward, but very intriguing. She's going to get Ryan Munger aboard. So that's how I view the first leg of the sequence. We'll move to the middle leg, the Grade 1 Canadian International, a field of 10. It's worth noting with these turf races, we're on the inner. It's a different configuration. And if you go back to Woodbine Mile days, the European runners overall, Notable Speech fared well. The others maybe didn't perform as expected because of the tight turns. But I do think at a 1.5 miles, that sort of not fully eliminates, but does ease the concern about the configuration as they're going to go a longer distance, 1.5 miles to be specific. So I'm looking at this. Nation's Pride is the morning line favorite. He obviously won this race 2 years ago. And since then, he's only had one other win in North America. That came at Colonial Downs in the Arlington Million, and thought that was a good effort. I thought his most recent performance, though, at Saratoga, I didn't necessarily love. It wasn't a bad effort, and obviously that figure jumps off the page. If he fires a race like that, he can find the winner's circle, but I just don't fully trust him, even though he's almost won half of his races. So I will use him on the ticket, but for me, the horse I'm most intrigued by is the horse on the inside, the number 1, Haunted Dream, who already has an effort at Woodbine on the inner turf course. It came in the Grade 3 Singspiel, where this one was able to close late, circle horses, and draw clear by a 1.5 lengths. And I think in the fact that he gave up some ground, has that run, Mile and a half's not going to be an issue for him. He has experience going this distance. He's just going to have to go a little bit further than the 1.375. And I think the rail works out really well for him. He's not necessarily going to be in front early, but he can save ground. And Rafael Hernandez was obviously aboard last time out, sticks with him here. So a lot of confidence here in the number 1 Haunted Dream, but Nation's Pride arguably the horse to beat. We'll round things out on the Tapeta. It's just an allowance optional claiming event, but it's a pretty big group of 13. It's a salty group. It's a little tough to figure out who's going to fire their best race, maybe getting back onto the Tapeta at the 1.16 distance. And the logical horse to start with is going to be on my ticket. That's the number 2 Jayhawk, who we never saw in 2024. Had a very long layoff. We've seen this one twice this year. And in those performances, I actually thought the return to the races was quite good. He was forward going 1.16 on the Tapeta. Just came up a little bit short, but he didn't want to give it up. Warcourt was able to pass him. And then you look at last time out, they reverted back to some old tactics that they actually tried in his final start of his 2-year-old season, and it worked. Just didn't necessarily work on the turf, and it doesn't help him that Awesome Bourbon drew clear by 6 lengths and came back to win next time out. Actually has a little bit of a win streak going. And Niagara Skyline was able to kind of beat him for second narrowly, another horse that has some good form. So I think he did nothing wrong last time out. I expect him to even take a big step forward here. 3rd start off that long layoff. So he's a must-use. Others to look at. Really curious about the 11 Fighter in the Win for Richard Morden, a horse that this year is 2 for 5 in terms of victories. And one of them was the way that he kicked off his season after the return to the races, first start in the barn. He was able to win with a forward trip on the Tapeta, but since then they stretched him out and they put him on the turf. We've seen him on the turf in his last 4, anywhere from 6 furlongs to 1.375. And maybe 1.375 was too far for him last time out, but he was able to win at 1.25 miles. Liked the trip that he got stalking from off of it. And I know those figures are turf figures, but again, even looking at some of his Tapeta form, I still think he can be competitive against this group. And I think he's going to be passed over. We'll see if he takes play, but I don't know. I think people are just going to see the turf form and not think it's going to translate here to the Tapeta. I will use him. And then the final horse that I'll include is the number 13 Harlan Estate, who probably rings the bell. Had a big win a couple years back at Kentucky Downs, and since then we haven't found him in the winner's circle, but he's been in some tough spots. They've had him in graded stakes competition. They've had him in the States, and he's returned to Woodbine. He's been at Woodbine in the past in a different outfit back in 2021 and 2022, but in his 2 starts here now for trainer Catherine Day Phillips, I thought the return was pretty good. He was 2 lengths behind Jayhawk, but obviously trying to get back on track. The pace wasn't all that quick early on. I think that's why he had some problems closing in there, considering that they went 24-3 and 49-3 to the half. And the top 2, they were always in front of him. So I don't think the race flow helped. And then last time out, the thing not to like is he took a ton of play and he didn't fire at all. He chased the pace and faded. So again, it's on the turf though, so I don't want to hold that against him, and I'm willing to use him here. He's kind of, sort of a mixed read. I think there are things to really like about him. Getting back onto the Tapeta, the race 2 back, 3rd start off the long layoff, but he's going to have to work out a trip here from post 13. So that is the pick 3 that I'm excited about this Saturday up at Woodbine. As it mentioned, it kicks off in race number 8. We'll take a look at my ticket once again. I will go 3 deep in the opening leg. I felt like the horses I needed to use were the 1, the 4, and the 5. Caitlin or Greatness, if someone scratches, would be the next horse that I would use there. Race number 9 is the Canadian International. I go to the bookends here of the starting gate. The 1 Haunted Dream on top for me, but I do realize the 10 Nation's Pride has been quite impressive, and his figures do tower over that field. And then finally, to round things out in race number 10, I'll use the 2 Jayhawk. I'll also use the 11 and the 13. And for me, the value really comes in the number 11. I think the 2 is going to be a very, very short price. The 13 probably takes some play as well. So hopefully we'll be able to sneak a price horse in to round out the pick 3 sequence. So going 3 over 2 over 3 means a $9 play. It's a 50 center, but don't forget, we're up at Woodbine, so they're 20 cent minimum. So you can kind of structure that. Either play it for $1, play it for 40 cents, 60 cents. You figure it out. Let us know who you like in this pick 3 sequence, and if you have any singles along the way, or maybe just have a different opinion. Always like hearing that from the viewers, and as always, good luck.